Show those teeth. Don't be pruning up. And give them a smile. Show them their teeth, even if they're not yours. You want them, they still yours. Show them to them. Show them how nice they are. Say, see what the Lord bless me with. And show them off. Show them off. Yeah. You know, ladies, my wife likes to show off them. Buy something new. She goes to the other sister. Ladies, young ladies get engaged. They can't help but wave. I want to show that ring off. Amen. Show that happy smile. Amen. God is good, isn't He?
Yes, He is.
His name, we certainly give honor to the Spirit of Christ. Each of you certainly count the privilege to be here on today. We couldn't wait to get here. This is our last scheduled trip of the year. We were Seattle a few weeks ago and just traveling. And we were just delighted to be able to come. We didn't want to miss this day. We didn't want to miss this occasion. So just praise God. We certainly honor each of you. Amen. Bishop, Pastor, it's so wonderful to see you today. Amen. We certainly thank God for you and for the many years gone by that of our acquaintance and friendship and back in the day, certainly to Pastor Malloy and to Elder Pastor Malloy, Sister Malloy, the one that runs things. Amen. She runs things. Thank God, it's good to have somebody that knows what to do. To all of you, we just praise God. To all the elders, young people, deacons, and musicians, just such a wonderful group that the Lord has blessed. The praise and worship team, the ushers, and prompts the spirit of worship. Certainly to my wife. Thank God for her being here, for traveling. Of course, I tell the story of how we somewhat met after a Bible study. The people that brought her wouldn't take her home. And at a church, they wouldn't let her in the car. And so I was the only one left on the lot. It was a setup. I said, what's going on with her? Why she can't get in the car? What's wrong? Finally, I said, well, someone can ride with me. And she meandered on over until she's been over with me ever since. I had a big old white Dynamic 88 Oldsmobile. And just a young person just ride. And many cars in between, but certainly the Lord has blessed us, and we just thank God. And certainly to the angel of the church.
Yes.
Amen. The Lord has blessed this house with Pastor Fidel. I still remember the first time that we had the acquaintance of meeting her in Los Angeles. She used the pride of an apostle. We didn't know at the time who she was, but I could tell by the way she walked in. And I could tell just by looking, he introduced her. She came and sang. And I was playing on the organ at that time, and somehow there was no off keys, no missed beats, nothing. It was just a wonderful connection in the spirit, and we just thank God for her. She is such a big sister to us. Thank God for her hospitality. Try not to be in her way. And, no, make sure this. Is this how we doing this? Are you okay? Are you fine? I said, Pastor, we're fine. We're good. But we certainly thank God. We thank God for this occasion. And, young people, the young ladies, many weren't even born when we first started coming here back in the mid-90s, coming back and forth to this area to New York. I was traveling, doing consulting work, and I remember first coming in this area, being with Apostle and Sister Rudolph, and it seemed like whenever I would come, he would always extend the invitation for me to minister. And I'd be in the area, or be in actually Greenwich, New York area for a week, and sometimes come on Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, or Sunday morning, whatever. And I just remember that. And many of these young ladies and young men weren't even born. Some of them were, and just looking at them grow up in the wonderful work. So we praise God. We won't be with you long today, because we know we have a long day. And my watch says 8:45, so I guess about 12. Certainly let you out by 12 o'clock. 12 by my clock, then. 12 by your clock, too. Won't be too far off. But we just long day, preparation, and we certainly want to allow that time. But I just wanted to encourage you on this morning, as we have been, and just to confirm, to affirm what I believe the Lord is saying. And so if you please go with me to the book of Exodus, the 13th chapter, the 17th verse, Exodus 13 and 17, and we'll read about 5 verses there. And go to direction with the Lord. There is a word for today, and we can certainly thank God for that. Exodus 13 and 17. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt. But God led them, the people, about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up, harnessed out of Egypt, the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straitly sworn the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away hence with you. And they took their journey from Succoth and encamped in Etham, in the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud, and to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire, to give them light, to go by day and night. The 22nd verse, he took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. For a thought, just say to someone sitting next to you, chosen to progress.
To progress.
Look at someone else and say, I progress. Because I'm chosen. Thank God for this thought on this morning. You know, as a leader, Moses, he had to change his speech and the way that he viewed God. As God gave him instructions, he had to receive them and lead. He had to change because, as you know, Moses was not the most willing person to take on the task to lead the people of God. He had over 11 excuses when it came to when God said, you're going to lead my people, and the cry is great, and I've heard your cry. He came up with over all of these excuses why he shouldn't do it. God had to impress him. Oh no, you don't do this. Anybody ever been impressed by God that you're gonna do this? You can clown if you want, that's silly. You can be a little goose, whatever. But you are gonna do what is I have purposed for you. If you just don't do it, you're going to be in outright rebellion and disobedience, and you'll have to suffer those consequences. So he had to change his way of what he couldn't do and why. He had to change his perception of what he was called to do, or what he thought he was called to do. Joshua as well had to take up where Moses left off. He had to take it up, and he had to help, and even in his organization, even though he was there with Moses, to help and organize, and to help with the people, and to help with all of the daily things that had to go on. When that, as we've heard today, as that baton fell into his hands, he had to go and he had to come to a place that said, okay, this is where I am right now, and this is what I must do. As a follower of Elisha, he asked for a double portion of Elijah's spirit. He said, you know, if Elijah said, well, what is it that you want? He says, well, I want a double portion. I want whatever it is that you have. And we find that story in 2 Kings, the 2nd chapter. And that he wanted to be so much, he wanted to please, he wanted to be in such a place. And it's interesting because he was being told what was going to happen by those who were in the school of the prophets. They had 4 different schools back then, and he was in one of them with Elijah. And Elijah, prophets are interesting people at times. Lord, they can prophesy to you what thus said the Lord. Ha-ta, ho-bi-ya, sha-ta. Hey-te-hey-hey-hey-so, ha-hey-hey-hey-ha-ha-ho-sha. They'll talk to you now. They will. What thus said the Lord. And they can prophesy to everyone else's life. And they can tell you what God is going to do for you and what God is going to do. Wow. And sometimes, I'm not talking about the prophets back then, I'm talking about the modern day prophets here in the 21st century. Not any of you in here, I'm not talking about you, but people you know. And they will tell you everything that's going on with them, with you, everything that's going to happen. And they can't see other things, other calamities. I wondered, I said, Lord, I said, now they can talk to everybody else's life, but they don't know when their lights are about to get cut off. They don't know when their children are about to go crazy. They don't see things that are about to happen to them, but they can do it for others. You know, God works that way at times. And so these other prophets, these junior prophets, these prophets in training, they were telling Elisha says, oh, the Lord's going to take your master. The Lord's going to take your master. The Lord is going to take your master. Ha, ha, ha. And he had to get to the point, said, okay, I know. And it disturbed him so. He said, he had to go to his master. He said, I know that God is going to take you. I know that certain things are going to happen, but I don't like this. Elijah had to say, you know what, don't worry about it. He said, what is it that? He says, that you want. If you see me, Elisha told him what he wanted. He says, okay, I tell you what, if you see me when I'm taken away, then you should have it. And so, all in all, God uses people. God uses us. God lets us know that we move forward. We're constantly moving. We're constantly evolving, regardless of how life, what curves, and what situations that have happened. God knows, but yet He's chosen us to progress. Or I can put it in this way. Not only has He chosen us, but we have chosen to progress. You see, there's a scripture. The scripture says that many are called, but few are chosen. Now, if you know anything like I do, back in the day, they always say, well, many are called, but few, but only God chooses a few. I said, no, you don't have that right quite. Oh, yes. God, many are called, but only God has chosen the few, and they use that when it comes to the call of ministry or whatever. But that actual interpretation is, many are called, but few have chosen to follow God or to do what God has called them to do.
All right.
Many are called. God has opened up the door, the invitation. He says, come. I have something for you to do. I have something. But only a few have chosen to say, okay, God, I'll do it. Here am I, Lord, send me. Here am I, Lord, I'll preach your word. Here am I, Lord, I'll go into the... That's what that really means. So we look at this title or this text and subject in several ways. We're chosen. In other words, God has chosen us to progress.
Yes.
And therefore, yes, we have chosen, or we have accepted the fact that we must progress. There are three main points that I'd like to quickly just share with you today. And you can say this with me: stagnation, fear, and moving forward. Stagnation, stagnant, what does that mean? The best way I could look at this is when it comes to water. Standing water, there is nothing more repulsive. There's nothing more gross. There's nothing, where, as the young people might say, ooh, than to have stagnant water. That is water that is not flowing or being filtered or being pumped, or it's not moving. It's just there. Not water like maybe in a pool or a fountain, because generally there's still filtering. There's something that's keeping that water moving, although we may not see it. As an experienced backpacker many years ago, I would hike along with the group to some of the highest peaks in California, some 12, 14, 16, or 14,000 feet, and very high elevations. And when it came to drinking water, one thing you knew, one thing you were taught, you never would drink from a stream or from a lake or from a pond or anything where the water, the source of the water had not flowed at least a quarter of a mile, and where it had dropped at least 10 feet over rocks and over things, as water is flowing and filtering. You just didn't drink water. You didn't see a pool of water and just get your cup down and drink it, because you didn't know where that source was. If that source had come from somewhere where it could be filtered and be pure of all of the impurities, you didn't drink it. And water, because water that is stagnant draws unnecessary elements.
Yes.
Unsavory elements. Water that is stagnant will draw mosquitoes.
Yes.
And of course, mosquitoes spread germs and diseases. Water that is stagnant will produce guppies. Anybody know what a guppy is? And guppies are little, they don't have legs or anything. They're just got a little big head and a little tail. But eventually, guppies turn into frogs.
That's right.
And y'all know what frogs are like. They're green and slimy, got big eyes, slimy tongues. A frog can be right here and see a fly or an insect with his tongue and grab it from about 10 feet away and swallow it. I don't know, I never thought, why do they always make a frog a Prince Charming in fairy tales? Kiss frog, kiss frog, and he turn into a prince. The frog is not turning into a prince. It's a frog. It's ugly. It's just, it bellows, it makes noises at night and all kinds of things. But this is what stagnation will draw. Guppies that turn into frogs. Stagnant water many times will produce moss and algae. And while these may have necessary ecological benefits, the fact is that they perpetrate a sense of murkiness. Because beneath the moss and the murkiness, you don't know what lies under that. A lot of times there's snakes under that murkiness. A lot of y'all from the country, some of y'all, you know about it. In different places, you don't know about these things. But they're underneath that moss and algae and those things, there's snakes and alligators and lizards and all kind of things that murk and lurk under the hiding place or the cover of this moss. And many times stagnant water smells. It stinks. It's just not good. It's just not good. And so this is what stagnation will result in if there's no flowing, if there's no progress. Thus, a church that is not moving is stagnant. A church that is not moving forward can possibly draw all kinds of unsavory elements and will hide out among the people.
Say it now.
You don't know. Sometimes things hide out among the stuff because there's stagnation. Fear. Fear is the unknown. One of the reasons folks are fearful is because they may not have knowledge of something or even someone. And rightfully so, if certain things are not known, you probably should be cautious, or maybe it might cause a little fear with regards to natural man. In the natural, we should be fearful. Some folks are fearful of the dark. They just can't stand the dark. They're spooky. They're just dark down there, child, and I'm going. After it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, people won't come out the house because of the dark. So look out now. If they hear a noise, they'll look out. They'll peep. What's out there, child? I'm not going out there. Because it's dark. And they're fearful. Forget about flashlights. Forget about everything else. They will not go because it's dark out there. They don't know what is there. Oh, we can be fearful. The saints can be fearful. My wife and I know a lady. She told us one time, she said, "Oh, no, I don't fly." "You don't fly?" No, I won't get on anybody's plane. I said, "Why not?" "Oh, that plane might crash." They said, "But people fly all the time." I said, "You can die in your car, probably the odds, than flying on a plane." "Oh, no, I'm not flying on a plane." Oh, and then she tried to justify it, and get all emotional. "Oh, I'm not flying on a plane." I told her, I'll never listen to her preach to me again. Talk about faith or anything else. Talk about faith and believe God and trust God, and you won't even get on an airplane, something that most folks do. I'm not saying that there are certain things that we shouldn't be cautious of. I remember the first time that I jumped into the deep end of the pool when I was a young boy, about 10 years old, and in 10 feet of water. And the water was over my head, and I looked up, and I said, "Well, I can either stay down here and drown, or I can try to swim back up." And I did that a couple of times, and finally the lifeguard barked at me and said, "Can you swim from here to there?" And I, out of fear or being scared or reaction, I just said, "No." He said, "Well, get out of here and go back in the shallow end." I said, "Well, that's not right. I can swim." But I eventually learned to become a very good swimmer and even became a lifeguard at the age of 15. And but because I know how to swim, I'm not going to get out and scuba dive with sharks. Okay, well, I'm just not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. Because to me, that is something that the average person just doesn't do. Now, some folks love to do that. They're adventurous. They like to get out there and pet the sharks on the nose and do all that type of stuff. I'm not going to pet a great white shark on the nose. And they say, "Oh, sharks don't eat people." Oh, no. It's proven that they really don't. They mistake people for mammals. That's what they say. And when they bite into a human, they generally spit them out because they just can't take the taste. And so, but I don't have to have my legs bitten off by a shark to prove that point. I don't need that. I don't care how well I swim, I don't need to prove that fact. That sharks don't like humans. And so the fact is that might be a fear or something that all of us might have. We might have a fear of certain things because it's not normal or it's not the average person. But I feel that if the average person does it, if the average person does certain things, if the average person will walk on the streets of New York to see in Rockefeller Center or if they will do certain things, if the average person will go to a basketball game or a baseball game, if the average person will partake in certain events, that's okay. There should not be any fear, although we're always cautious of things. There should not be any fear of just doing things that average people do. So I remember when I was about 15 years old, 16 years old, I became fearful because I was going to ask this nice young lady to the prom. My high school days, of course. And I was a little fearful. I was just afraid. I just didn't have the nerve. And so one day, I said, I'm going to ask her to go to the prom with me. We were in orchestra class together, and I could talk about anything. I could just go to her and talk to her, and we could talk about any and everything, talk about music. She played the violin, and I could talk about that, and I could do everything. But I couldn't get my nerve, young folks, to ask her to go to the prom. So one day I got my nerve up, we were walking, and I said, Zanette, will you go to the prom with me? And she said, no. And it just crushed me. I said, she said, it's not that I don't want to go. She said, but I've been waiting for 8 weeks for you to ask me. And there's only 3 weeks left, and I can't get a dress together, and I got to get my hair done, and I got to do this, and I got to buy shoes. I just don't have time. I've been waiting for 8 weeks. And so I thought to myself, I said, oh, you silly goose. I waited 8 weeks too late because of fear. Because of fear. After that point, I didn't have any too much fear when speaking to young ladies. Spiritually, we should not fear because God is on our side. Yes. Tell someone that God is on our side. David says, oh, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I will fear no evil. Oh, thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. He says, you know what? You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So I don't care what enemy's out there. I don't care how bad he is. I don't care how big he is. I don't care how tough he is. I don't care what his reputation is. Spiritually, God is on our side. We can tell the devil, you better get yourself back, and you better go back to the pits of hell from where you want to be, because I come against you. When they say there's power in the blood, I come to you in the blood of Jesus. I'm not fearful of you. Paul wrote to Timothy in 2 Timothy 1 and 7 says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, sound mind. In other words, God has not given us a spirit of timidity, of a coward, being a coward. He's not given us of being, just fear and frowning and just, he's not given us that spirit. Yes, sir. But he's given us the spirit of power. Yes. Oh, there's power in the blood. He's given us the spirit of love. Yes. Given us being calm. We can look that enemy in the face. We can look at that situation and be just as calm. Because God is on our side. God is with us, and we don't have the spirit of fear. So we can handle anything. He's given us a well-balanced mind. We're not fickle. We're not crazy. We're not over here one day and over there the next. We say we stand on the word of God. If God said it, even though it may cost my life, I'm not going to be afraid of you. You devil, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. And our third point, moving. Progress, moving with God. When it comes to moving with God, understand this, you will be criticized. Not might be, but you will be. So if you're not moving because you're trying to win everyone's approval, you're going to have a tough time in life when it comes to pleasing the Lord. Because I don't care what you do, when you're working in you're working in the progress of God, when you've chosen the progress, you're going to be criticized. You're going to be scrutinized. Somebody's always going to have an issue with what you're doing. Someone's always going to have a problem of why you're doing it that way. And you know, they didn't do it that way back when I was coming up. And they said, well, how old are you? I'm 105. Well, we're not doing it your way 105 years ago. We're going to do it this way. This is the 21st century. We're not doing it your way.
Amen.
There's a story, I'm sure you heard it, while the young lady was working with her mother in the kitchen. She was just going and going, and so the mother was fixing the food, and she had these pots, and she couldn't figure out. She says, well, Mama, why do we need 2 pots to cook the ham bone, cook the food? She said, baby, you know what? I don't know. Let me ask Mama. Mama, why we need 2 pots to cook? You know, I don't know. Let's ask Big Mama. Big Mama, why we need 2 pots to cook the ham bone? Why we need 2? Child, because that's all they had when I was growing up was 2. Y'all use 1. You got a big enough one now, use 1. And sometimes we do things, we want progress, we want to do things the way somebody else did it, who did it that way, who their folks did it that way because they did it. We don't want to progress. God's trying to pull us, and He's trying to say, come on. I'm a non-changing God, but I progress.
Yes.
So as long as you're not going anywhere, you have to understand that sometimes as long as you're not going anywhere, that's what the enemy wants you. Now when the Israelites left Egypt after some 400 plus years, not all of them were in agreement. They were in agreement. They were happy to leave, but as soon as Pharaoh, as soon as they started coming, as soon as somebody, there's always somebody nosy. There's always somebody who shouldn't be looking for his own. As soon as someone looked for something they shouldn't have been looking for, oh, here comes Pharaoh. As soon as they saw him coming, there came the criticism. The criticism came. We should have stayed back in Egypt. Why did you bring us out here, Moses? We should have stayed where we were. We should have stayed up there on Main Street. We should have stayed up there on Main Street. Why are we here? I don't see nothing. Where's the other wall at? I don't see nothing. I don't see it. I don't see it beyond that wall. I see it beyond that wall. I know it's beyond that wall. But some folks, they're not privy to what's behind that wall. And all they see is mirrors. I'm just looking at myself. Yeah, you look at yourself with your ugly self, but there's some stuff behind it. There's some good things behind that wall. There's some other things beyond that you can't see that God has revealed to the woman of God. God has revealed it to the man of God. God has revealed it to the leader. God knows. I can't see it. You're not supposed to see it. You're not supposed to see what's there. You're not supposed to see it. That's what the enemy would try to have you do. So some folks start seeing things. They start seeing stuff. They start fearing. And they start complaining. And they start criticizing. We have to pay more money. I don't understand why we have to pay more money. We should have stayed where we were. But fear had gripped them. Fear had gripped them. And it's interesting things. It's interesting when you're not going anywhere when you're just stagnant, when you're just sitting there. You know, no one's envious of you. When you're not doing anything, you're not going from, when you're in college and you're not going from a freshman to a sophomore to a junior, just everybody's cool, everybody's fine. Oh, I gotta take it over again. Oh, yeah, that's just the way it works. Just be encouraged, child. Stay in the 3rd grade for 4 years. No,
Oh my God.
everyone's happy. Young men, sometimes as long as you and all the, I don't know what they call them out here in the back where I come from, they call them homies. Y'all know what the homies are? Okay, all right, just make sure, As long as you and the homies can hang out in the mall and look at people, some of the pants down here, I cannot stand that. I won't even But as long as you hang around in the mall and your pants hanging down on your thigh, back of your calf, and you try to be I'm a Mac Daddy. Player. Hey, player. Every time I hear somebody say, hey, player, don't call me. I don't know what a player is. I don't want to be called a player. I used to play ball and play a lot of things. You can call me something related to that. I used to run. I was a runner, Pastor. I was a runner. You know, if you want to refer to that, that's fine. But don't be, hey, player. Hey, player. What's up, player? What's up, player? What's going on? How you doing? I don't have my props here this morning, so I can't work with it. I like to tell you, I usually have props, so I can give you a visual. I left my sunglasses in the office, so I can't give you what I really want to tell you today. And nobody has a hat that I can put on. Somebody had a hat. See, I worked that thing out today. But as long as you one of those, everybody's cool. Everything is good. Young ladies, as long as you and your girls can hang around and watch Scandal and Dancing with the Stars, all that stuff, you know. I'm not saying anything was wrong with that. I'm just saying, as long as y'all doing that, you know, eating Twinkies and bonbons and eating potato chips, talking about everybody, nobody's mad at you.
Come on, sir.
Nobody's envious. No one is jealous of you. Everybody is just growing and eating and getting fat together and talking and, you know, going shopping. Nobody has a problem with you. Everything is good. But don't start filling out applications for a job. Don't start wanting to better yourself. Don't want starting to get into the place even where God wants you to be. Don't start, you know, seeking God. Young ladies, don't start praying and fasting before God. Don't start having prayer conferences with your girlfriends. Don't start meeting up here on late Friday nights and shutting in through Saturday morning because you want to be in the will of God. Don't start doing those things that please God. Don't start laying your plate aside. And the moment you start doing that, everybody hates you. Who she thinks she is? She thinks she's some famous evangelist. No, she just thinks she's an evangelist. She thinks she's a prophetess. Who does she think she is trying to get all people? Who is he trying to be? Who does he think he is? He's trying to imitate the apostle. He's trying to be like him. He's trying to study his word. He's trying to be like the pastor. He's trying to be like Elder Malloy. He's trying to do whatever. Don't do that and see what happens. All right. Oh, everybody's not your friend. Because they don't want to progress. They want to stay in Egypt. They don't want to move forward. They don't want to move to what God would have them to move. Don't start telling folks, you know, I make $12.50 an hour, but I'm looking for God to bless me with $40,000, $50,000 a year. I know I'm only 22 years old. I know I'm only 24. I know I'm only 30 years old. But I'm looking for God to give me 5 figures. In a few years, I'm going to be at 6 figures. Don't do that. Everybody's going to hate you. Oh, no. I'm not trying to be anything. I'm just moving with God. I'm just being what God has me to be. I'm just doing what I want to do. I just want to be in where God has a destiny for me, in the favor of God. That's all I want. Let me wrap this up. First of all, I want you to know that God does not change. But yet he progresses. How does he not change? Yet he progresses. Some will take a couple of verses out of the Bible and argue against progress and keeping up with the times. As far as the church is concerned, that is. 2 of these scriptures are, of course, you've read them and heard them, Malachi 3 and 6. I am the Lord and I change not. Hebrews 13 and 8. Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. These verses have nothing to do with God not progressing, but they speak about the unchanging person of God and Jesus Christ and their immutability. God is perfect, therefore, he does not need to change.
All right.
Change implies less than perfection. It applies that there's flaws in it. God is eternal. He is time. He has no origin. Therefore, he retains his own state of being, because what has no origin or what is eternal cannot be changed. Change is therefore non-existent with God. He came from out of nowhere and made somewhere. He stepped out of nothing and made something and made everything. Jesus Christ is not fickle, vacillating, changing in his character or plans. He doesn't aid us one day and tomorrow forsakes us. He doesn't form a plan today and abandon it tomorrow. He doesn't, do things that would cause us to say, I think something wrong with the Lord. He must be on something today. He is not that. He loves. He is always loved. But man must change. Tell your neighbor, say, honey, you gotta change. Oh, well, yeah, look different. Yeah, look at your wife and say, baby, you gotta change. I don't see y'all further. Let me show y'all good. Baby, you gotta change. Yeah, man. I wanna say, you man, come on, you man. Say, come on, ladies, you think you run things. Look at your husband and say, baby, you gotta change. See, man must change. Change exists in this person because man is not eternal. Unlike God, man must change in order to progress, to be progressive. All of us change naturally and physically. I've told you before, 20 years ago, I had jet black hair, dark brown. It's still there, you just can't see it. Oh yeah. I had so much hair, I could sell it to the shops. I could have been rich. I was a few pounds lighter. About 40 pounds lighter, 50 pounds lighter. I'm not like that anymore. I have 28 teeth, and all of them are mine. But some of them have fallen out. They're not there anymore. My wisdom teeth are gone. 4 of my incisors are gone because I had to make room for my braces. But that's the way it is. So things are changing, things are different. You've changed too. You're not the same. And thank God y'all not the same. I don't want to see y'all walking around here, you 50 years old walking around with a big old pacifier in your mouth. You've changed, you've grown. At the attributes of change, when you're progressing, you must know that things generally do not turn out the way we expect.
That's right.
When they're progressing, they don't turn out the way that you envisioned it. Why? Because God does not always take you the most direct way, as our theme scripture. He took the children of Israel a different direction. He could have taken them a shorter direction. He could have had them there in just a few days. But he took them the long way. Because if they had seen, in that case, the Philistines, if they had seen in war, they would have gotten afraid. So God does not always take us the way we think we should go. God, how come you didn't take, God, why did I have to go this way? How come you had to go this? How come I just couldn't have gone here? How come I couldn't have been what I am 14 years ago? Because you weren't ready. And God knew that. So he does not always take us the way that we think we should go. But understand this, God is going to stay with you all the way. Through the good times and the bad, God is going to stay with you and be with you. And understand this, that failure, most successes come with failure. That's part of its package, it's part of its DNA. If you can break down success, you will see failure somewhere along the way. Anyone who is successful, I don't care what you look at them, I don't care how you look at them now, I don't care how you think about them, somewhere along the way, they had a failure. They had to have a failure. See, in order to progress, sometimes you can't just do something once or twice and give up. You have to keep on going. Here's one. This is hard for the saints. To progress, you must forget. That doesn't mean you don't still understand what happened. When I say forget, you must forget it. Don't let it affect you. And then you've got to forgive. The problem with most of the people of God is that when something is done wrong against us, we can't let it go. I'm not saying don't keep it so that you know not to go down that path again. I'm just saying don't keep bringing it up, that it keeps you from going to where God has you, where he wants you to be. I can't do it. can do it. I did it one time before. I trusted her before. And look what she did. You know, when I was in the 8th grade, she stole my little boyfriend. Let it go. I was in the 8th grade. You're 90 years old. Still talking about something when you were 14. Let it go.
Wow.
Sometimes it's probably good that you didn't marry that person. It's good that you didn't hook up with the person you thought you wanted to hook up because they were taking you to a place. But God calls an intervention to come in. Why? Because He's progressing you. The Bible says that the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. And He's taking you different places and He's moving you around. And you may feel that something has come bad against you, but let it go. Forget about it. Get out of your comfort zone. I don't care if somebody, you loan me $20 and then he give it back to you. Let it go. Let it go. You see it again. Hey, you need $20 more? Let it go. Hey, $20. Hey, get it back. And you tell everybody on Facebook, Instagram.
Oh my God.
Now that Twitter's out. I gave him $20. They didn't get it back. Let it go. Isn't there a song out there called Let It Go?
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
You start singing it.
When you're progressing, you can't go by what you used to be or used to do. You have to go by where you are now. Can't dwell too much. We all got what we used to be. We all tell stories of how we used to do this. We all tell stories of what the saints used to be. Child, when I was coming up, the saints used to come in praying. Child, when I came up, the saints used to do this. Child, when I came up, the mothers would do this. Okay, that's good. That helped you. But if that's not the case now, just understand what that is and operate with today's, what God is doing for this church generation today. Amen. I told you there's going to be persecution, there's going to be ridicule, jealousy, accusations, plot against you. Because you have not gone this way before. It's a new experience. Numbers 16, 3rd verse, Moses was accused of being better than those he was leading. That's okay. God's chosen you. You are better. If God has favored you, you are favored for what God has chosen you for. As I conclude, I want you to just understand this. We're chosen. And there's nothing anybody can do. You're chosen. Young people, you're chosen. The world doesn't understand that. The world doesn't like that. You're chosen. There's nothing any devil in hell can do about it. You know I love you. Come to church with me. Come. But you know what? If you don't like, that's okay because God favors me. And if you don't like it, too bad. I'm God's child. Sometimes being chosen isn't so exciting. How many want to be chosen for an IRS audit? Raise your hand. You don't want to be chosen to go to war. You don't want to be chosen to be some guinea pigs in some crazy project. Sometimes being chosen brings about great pride. Chosen for the school play. Chosen for employment. Of all the women in the world, that man chose you, lady. Of all the men in the world, that lady chose you, man. So it's okay to be chosen. But you have to remember that the adversary is present. He's going to be present. In the 41st chapter of Isaiah, the 8th verse, "But thou, Israel, my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend, thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men, therefore, and said unto thee, thou art my servant." The enemy's going to form alliances against you, but don't worry about it. You're chosen.
Yes, sir.
We're chosen to progress. We progress because we're chosen. In Zechariah 3 and 4, he received some new clothes. He had to take off his old clothes. Sin is taken away. I'm changing into my new raiment. I'm changing into my new shoes. I'm changing into my new headdress. I'm changing. God plucked us out of the fire, saved us from being consumed. Your friends may have counted you out, but you know what? God counted you in.
Yes.
The devil tried to destroy you, but God chose you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, your family forsook you, but God chose you.
Yes.
I'm progressing because I'm chosen, and I progress because I'm chosen. I'm chosen to progress. I'm forgetting those things which are behind.
That's right.
I'm pressing on the upward way. New heights I'm gaining every day. Amen. Still as I stand on upward ground, plant my feet on higher ground. I'm not worried about this shaky stuff down here. I'm not worried about you and your craziness. I'm not worried about you and your play-hating self. But I'm chosen to progress. I'm chosen to run on. I'm moving with the church in the 21st century. I'm not staying stagnant anymore. I'm going to keep flowing to where God would have me to go. I'm not fearing anymore. I'm not afraid of what the devil may bring. Why? Because I'm chosen. I'm not regressing, I'm progressing. I'm not going backwards, I'm moving forward. I'm moving in the place that God would have me to move. I'm speaking faith. I'm speaking what God would have me to speak. I'm walking in the place. I'm believing that as the word of God says, I can run through the troops and I can leap over the wall. And if I don't leap over it, by the time I get there, that wall's coming down. Because I'm moving forward. I'm not going back to Egypt. Go back there if I want to. Be under Pharaoh's rule, but I'm moving forward. There may be some difficulties. There may be some unknowns. But you know what? I'm going over into the promised land. I'm going where the grapes can just be plucked off and progressing and hanging off. I'm not worried about all that stuff in the back, but I'm progressing because I'm chosen. That I'm chosen to progress. Oh, I said I was going to let you go by 12, so let me finish this. In our progress, do know that many times, those that started with you, those that started with us, those you started with, they may not progress with you.
That's right.
And not necessarily because of anything that they've done. God has chosen, or it's His will, to take those away and transition those. We still progress.
Yes, sir.
And that's a hard thing sometimes. It's difficult for us to grasp. Lord, why? Sometimes the questions come, Lord, why? We think about these things, but you know what? God is always moving.
Yeah.
And we don't know all the time every single detail. God does not give us every detail.
Yes, he does. Right.
He just doesn't do it. He gives us bits and pieces. He tells us, go on, my child, go on with you. You're going the right direction. You're following a vision. And sometimes when things come and loved ones are taken away, and leaders are taken away, and it hurts us. We don't understand. But we're progressing, and God is never going to let us go.
That's right.
You see, Moses didn't physically make it to the promised land. The Bible says there in the 34th chapter of Deuteronomy, the Lord said to him, this is the land of which I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I have caused you to see it with your eyes,
Yes.
but you shall not cross over. That doesn't mean that Abraham wasn't in God's favor or God's sight.
Say that.
But in the progress, in the plan of God, God has everything all designed.
Yes.
I don't care who's taken from us, and it hurts us. It hurts us. I don't care who may not be with us. I was talking to one of our young pastors just on Friday, his wife. And they were one of the first churches that came in under my administration as presiding bishop. And they told me, Bishop, God is leading us in this direction, X, Y, and Z. And it really kind of hit me. It hurt. I said, what? Of all people? No animosity. Said, there's no other person that we could ever consider. You were such a great leader, but this is what we feel God is. We're not going with anyone else. We're not joining. And Bishop, we want to leave the door open because we believe we'll be back. But at this time, this is the direction. How could I be upset? It kept me up a little bit. It kept me wondering a little bit, but I said, Lord, when you direct, when our steps are ordered, we don't always know. everything and everyone. We cannot be bitter when those that started with us are not with us. We can't be bitter when if the Lord transitions those from us. We may hurt, and yes, that's going to hurt. But when we're chosen to progress, we're not going to stay back there.
That's right.
Even Joseph gave instructions that you better take my bones out of this place when you go out of here. Because I know you're going to go, so take me out of here. Because I'm not staying. I don't want my bones in Egypt. Take me out. So sometimes we may not see the end. We may not make it physically. But spiritually, God has prepared everything for us.
Yes.